Years ago, the dining room of this 55-year-old home was renovated, but now it needs to be updated.
Fluted molding looks good when it's used appropriately, and this was not the spot.
I've been helping homeowners improve their homes for a lot of years. They think it's intimidating, but it actually can be a lot of fun.
And we're here to help.
Good job, look at there.
Dad's the expert, but I've learned a few things along the way.
Practical, realistic home improvement information is what today's homeowner is all about. Andy and Leigh Dale recently bought the 60s era home in need of some updates. There's a lot about this house they like.
We're getting the house painted on the exterior in a few weeks, which that's one of the things this house needed the most, was some curb appeal, but it helped us be able to get it for a good price point.
Their sons, Sam and Parker, enjoy the outdoor spaces, and Leigh Dale and Andy love the openness that's been added to the old floor plan. But nobody's crazy about the dining room.
This house had some updates that we were excited about, but we also knew there were some things we needed to do to kind of make it our own. We anticipated it was gonna take a little elbow grease to get it how we wanted it.
So we've been talking to them about some solutions.
We've been in the house about 3 months now.
Well, I love all this openness right here.
Yeah,
Everybody
space
wants
is
that
very
nice open
open.
space. Did you paint these walls?
We didn't, if you could tell the poor painting down there,
Oh,
I
wow.
did
They
not
look
paint
like
these
I painted
walls.
them.
Wow.
So we would like to get this room repainted, maybe a lighter color
I got
to
you,
kind
sure.
of flow with the rest of the space. And then a friend of mine did some wainscoting. I don't know much about it, but I thought that could be pretty in here.
Yeah,
if y'all
lots
think
of
that
different
might
ways to
work.
do it.
Sure. Well, there is a lot of different ways, but a lot of times it'll cause a room to kind of close in a little bit because
Okay.
generally wood is used,
Yeah.
which is good and durable, but I thought about something here. That's nothing more than applied molding over drywall.
Huh, who knew?
So if you want to paint it all white like that or
Yeah.
a light color,
Right.
then we can
Exactly.
put chair rail up around 36 inches, then put the molding glued right to the drywall, and then paint a couple coats on it. It'll look just like that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I also noticed some unique molding over here. As soon as I walked in this house and I saw this fluted molding and some kind of old-fashioned bullseye, I knew that had to go.
And Danny, while I've got you in here, I've got one thing I wanted to get your opinion on.
Okay, all right, sure.
Follow me up back.
All right, great.
And now the table or the leaves, do you want to paint them?
Well, one of the things we loved most about the house was this deck
Yeah.
and backyard.
Yeah, this is nice. Plenty of room out here.
One thing I've always wanted, though, is an outdoor TV.
Oh, football time,
Football
huh?
time. I figured this is a perfect spot for it. You know, from a novice point of view, it seemed something would go here,
Sure,
but I wanted
yeah.
to get your expert opinion
Well,
about.
we actually could build it out of the same wood like this. We'll do some waterproofing on it,
Okay.
but it can blend in. I like that.
Yeah.
So, but you have to tell your wife that you're doing this. So outside, we'll add a little entertainment to an already ample deck. Inside, we'll add wainscoting and a more appropriate light fixture to the dining room. We'll convert the kitchen doorway to a proper cased opening, replace the fluted trim around the pass-throughs, and remove the oversized granite bar that extends out into the living room. Once we clear out the china cabinet, the furniture, and protect the floors, we begin deconstructing.
Danny says, Andy, can you hold this? It'll just be a second. Then a few seconds turns into 5 minutes.
Just can't really understand, I tell you what.
Arms are burning.
Just something not lining up right or something.
So Dad, was that chandelier as heavy as it looks?
You need to rest your arms, Andy?
Maybe in just a couple minutes.
I don't know. Ask Andy. All right, I got you a nice fresh blade here. Don't cut yourself, but what you do want to cut is you see right there, that caulking, how it touches the wall?
Yep.
If you'll just score it, that way we hopefully can keep from damaging that drywall as much, and then we can take this classic fluted molding down.
That fluted molding looks good when it's used appropriately, and this was not the spot.
You just want to say, why?
Oh, I know.
So this is what happens to everybody sometimes, where you're just trying to take one simple doorstop down to make this a legitimate cased opening, and now everything's falling apart here. It's actually a split jamb. I thought this was one piece of wood. It's two different ones. It's about to become just one piece.
What are the chances of having a split jam like we have here? 50-50?
50-50, that's pretty good. Split jam, 50-50. That's pretty good. Was that a joke?
Yeehaw!
I was so excited to see that thick molding come off. It just didn't flow with our house. I was just thrilled to see it going out of here.
I got a new shop vacuum today, and I love everything about it, except that I bought it specifically for use with my miter saw here, and I discovered that the hose, the vacuum hose, doesn't fit very well on the back of the port. It's too big. Now, I do make plastic adapters that you can use to attach the hose to the saw, but I decided to make one using an old bicycle inner tube. I took a pair of scissors, and I just cut a section about 3 or 4 inches long. I'm going to use it to connect the hose to the saw itself. I discovered if you take the little section of inner tube and fold back the end, it makes it a little easier to slip it onto the hose. There you go, a nice tight fit, just like that. And of course you take the other end, put it on the port, this is called the vacuum port, on the back of the saw. There you go, just like that. Hold it really nice and tightly, you don't have to worry about that pulling free. And I'm just gonna hook it up to the saw, to the vacuum itself. And now, when you go to make a cut with the saw, all you need to do to collect all that dust is flip on the vacuum.
We're helping Andy and Leigh Dale update their entertaining spaces. And the next thing to go is an oversized granite bar.
Someone sitting here in a chair trying to eat, and someone going from
Right, or even just standing there, as
Right.
you can tell, nobody can get by.
It should be just glued down. Just wiggle it a little bit. Push down on. Yeah, there you go. Fine. Yeah, we can roll it right on out right now. Make sure you got a good handle on it. Okay, does it look any better to you at this point?
I mean, it's coming.
Well, it has to get a little ugly before it starts looking better again. Good news is all the demolition's done. So we got that taken care of. But because of the width of that other molding is wider than what we're putting in, we're gonna have this real defined paint line right here. If you will take this and just go along here and just, that's all you're doing. That's done right there. That way, see, I can mud from here to here, and we're done.
Okay.
You know, it's always fun giving a homeowner a chance to try something they never have, especially when you can relate it to something like baking. Doesn't that look like a nice creamy vanilla icing?
It does, cream cheese.
And now I'm hungry.
You're going to pull it just across there as thin as you can. Good luck, I'll be out in the truck.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding, I'll be here with you. There you go.
I'm a natural.
Yeah, see how it just evens it all out. The trim will come down a little ways. Oh yeah. To heck with that real estate business.
You got a job for me?
With Leigh Dale's work ethic, I just might. Good help is hard to find.
I'm working, homeowner working, Chelsea's ordering lunch.
Ordering lunch is always the most important job on the job.
While I finish the drywall repair, Chelsea gets started laying out the chair rail.
All right, Leigh Dale, when we get the chair rail up and nail it, we want to nail into the studs behind the wall.
Okay.
So it helps to go ahead and mark them. There should be one on either side of this, so I have a little cheater, a stud finder. There.
I could have used one of these when I was dating. But wouldn't that be great if we just had a scanner? Good one. It would have been so much easier that way.
It might be a tight fit, so go ahead and put your corner in, and it's going below the line.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready. Oh, I gotta shoot. Are you putting it in anywhere certain?
Just in this
In the
thinner
middle?
area,
Okay.
right underneath where I marked. There you go.
It's just amazing how some simple molding can dress up a room.
Both the chair rail and the one-by material I'm using to finish the cased opening were pre-primed when we got them at the store.
Well, buying pre-primed, it saves a step, because once you get it in place, you're gonna need to put a coat or 2 of paint. It beats the heck out of putting a coat of primer than 2 of paint. It's just a step saver.
Just push it against it and shoot.
You know, when Danny first handed me the nail gun, I was a little gun shy, but after the first one, I was a lot more comfortable with it. Good?
That's good.
With the cased opening complete and the chair rail done, I can mock up a molding panel for Andy and Leigh Dale.
It'll be straighter than that. I know it's not level, but it's just about proportion as far as the sizes of it. So tell me the truth, what do you think? Is that what you had in mind?
Yeah, no, it is.
It looks a lot different now because it's got blue back there.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
when it's all
Instead of white.
the wall will then look like actual paneling.
While I'm cutting all the molding we need, Chelsea and Leigh Dale start assembling the panels.
What is this?
This is PVC glue.
Huh. But in this wood?
It's actually PVC. It's plastic.
Okay.
And this sets up pretty fast.
Using PVC molding is perfect for this application because it's lightweight, and when you're trying to nail in those tiny little areas, if you're using wood, it would split.
You know, Dan, that rustic look that you get from using reclaimed wood from an old barn or a fence is very popular, but not everybody has access when they want to incorporate it into the design of their home.
No, that's definitely something you have to be careful with. If you use the old wood, you might be dealing with chemicals that have been there for a preservative or insects.
Oh, well, you certainly don't want that.
No, we don't.
But look at this now. These are the weathered wall boards, and they come in this box. And when you pull them out, look at all of the color variation that you have. You can also get it in a whitewashed look as well. So you can use this as a nice accent wall in your home.
And is a wonderful product because it's rough sawn. It's made that way. This is all new wood. It is poplar, a very sustainable forest product.
And it's sawn that way to make it look rough and old and rustic. Now, another feature that I like is that, look, it's actually pretty thin. It's only 3/8 of an inch thick. So if you put this on the walls, it's going to incorporate nicely with your existing trim.
After just one day of work, Andy and Leigh Dale's dining room is looking much different. And overnight, they painted the upper half of the walls to brighten things up considerably.
All right, so to make sure everything's spaced properly, we have the spacer. And if you can hold that up against the chair rail and then maybe put your fingers on the panel.
Tell me when.
Using that spacer block at the top really saved the day installing those panels.
All right, that's perfect.
There's so many things about remodeling that have to do with proportion. So it's really hard to come up with a formula as exactly what works, but usually on wainscoting, if you balance it between the chair rail and the base, that always works.
Right.
And then to have a basic average of spacing all the way around the room, even if it's not exactly the same, that seems to work as well.
And we're using adhesive to hold it up, and we'll just nail it to tack it on there while the adhesive dries.
Using the adhesive to attach it to the wall just gave it a lot cleaner look.
And all you needed, what, was 2 nails?
That's right.
That's perfect.
While the ladies keep installing panels, I get Andy started pressure washing the wall on the deck before we build his TV cabinet there.
All right, we got Andy busy out there. That should work out pretty well. How's everything going here?
It's going really well.
All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can't make these cased openings look a little bit better.
Good.
The horizontal piece at the bottom of each opening will be a 1x8. I'm using a router to soften the top edges and cutting notches on either end before fitting each board in place.
You know, this makes so much more sense than having that big overhang like this. At least they'll be able to pass through here. You can still put a plate of food here if you need to, but this is gonna tie all of this trim in a lot better than it was before.
Once I get the other horizontal pieces in place, Andy joins me to begin wrapping the vertical surfaces.
Just like you're doing with your hand, and just even it out.
Okay. It's still showing a little bit of crack there. Is that okay?
Yeah, the trim's gonna go over it, and we definitely got a little caulking to do because it's just the walls are not the same width. Perfect.
By the time we get the trim around these openings, Chelsea and Leigh Dale are ready to paint.
So Chelsea, how come we're using this little roller?
Instead of the one you used last night,
Yeah, the bigger one.
it's foam. And so since we're trying to make this look like wood, we want it to be as smooth as possible.
It's so exciting to see the lighter color coming to life as the darker color was going away.
So Andy, you see what we did, right? We got out of painting.
Whew, that's a good thing.
I know it.
For everybody,
We can
probably.
stretch this out the rest of the day.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so positioning of this, we know we want to be in the center of this wall, right? So everybody wants to see a plan, a drawing of what I'm going to build for the TV cabinet. Well,
When Danny and I first started talking about the TV cabinet, I really didn't know what to expect. You know, he had a plan up here.
it's all in my mind. I'm making it up as I go.
It's a scary place to be.
We're using 2x6s around the plywood to form the box of the cabinet before we hang the TV mount inside the space. Early the next morning, we begin making the doors by layering rough-sawn fence boards in the same pattern used on the fence. Meanwhile, Chelsea and Leigh Dale are prepping the dining room table for paint.
So remind me again, how come we taped up these dowels?
Just to prevent too much paint buildup from getting there and keeping them from making contact.
So they'll be able to fit in when we're done.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
I noticed Leigh Dale was watching me pretty closely when I was using the paint sprayer, so I got the hint that she wanted to use it too.
You know, anytime you're trying to put a television or any kind of electronics outside, it has to stay dry. So I have the cabinet, for the most part, completed, but a real important part is this. This is a peel and stick type of roofing material that you use around the starter edge and around some valleys in different roofing applications. Here, I'm going to apply it like this, stick it down really nice, then put a little strip there to make it a little more decorative. And then using some of the scrap pieces I have left over from building the TV cabinet, I'll build a cute little roof just like this. It'll help shed the water and make it look pretty attractive. I think it's coming together pretty well.
I didn't exactly know how things were working, but I obviously knew that he knew. It started to make sense as we went further along. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be a perfect piece.
Once we put the roof together, Andy applies a coat of stain to the cabinet before we install the TV to complete this project.
I love the chandelier that Leigh Dale had in the dining room before, but it was so big that it contributed to the dining room feeling so small. So I picked out 2 chandeliers that are different styles, but the appropriate size, so we'll see which one she picks.
All right, Leigh Dale, we have 2 different fixtures to choose from, so I thought I'd have Dad hold them kind of in place.
Okay.
We can get an idea.
A little more modern, kind of ties in the kitchen.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Okay, that's one choice. Rectangular kind of fashion here.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go with the circular. It kind of ties in some of the traditional in here along with the modern.
I think so.
Okay, so one other option there would be, Chelsea.
Oh yeah, the ceiling medallions.
Okay.
She doesn't like it.
Wow. Let's see, this is the great Frisbee. There we go.
Thanks, Dad. I was going to use that in my house.
The previous owners of this house had updated the floor plan by creating pass-throughs and removing doors, but they didn't do us any favors with the details. The trim around the pass-through was all wrong. The granite bar was too big for the space, and the paint job in the dining room was poorly done. Plus, the dark color and the oversized chandelier made the room feel smaller than it actually was. Now all the areas flow together. The lighter color on the walls brightens everything up, and the applied molding wainscoting we added lends a touch of elegance to the dining space, while the new trim around the pass-throughs and cased openings deliver the clean lines we needed at those transitions. Plus, replacing the granite bar with a simple piece of 1x8 has given space back to the living room. Inside, we spent just under $600 on materials, and just outside the back door, the new TV cabinet we created for about $100 offers plenty of entertainment on the spacious deck.
It's amazing to see what just adding a little bit of the molding, how it dressed up that space.
Looks great, clean, open.
The living room's more open now, the dining room feels more open, and I'm just amazed how much more open the room feels. It really looks nice.
Just think about it, using some simple fence boards that are very inexpensive to create something that's going to allow these homeowners to use their deck a lot more. And then some stock moldings to make this dining room look this much better. And of course, paint always makes a difference. And for Chelsea and I, working with happy homeowners that really dig in and help, that makes it all worthwhile. I hope you enjoyed seeing this week's show, and I hope you were able to pick up a few things you can use at your house. I'm Danny Lipford. We'll see you next week here on Today's Homeowner. It's all about the jig.
Be sure to join us next week when we kick off a 2-part series to bring new life to a family's dated kitchen.
This really reminds me of Chelsea right after she eats lunch. Yeah.